let's slide into the real estate discussion too. Like, when did that start?
So the real estate started when I was 20 years old. Um, I bought 32 acres from my previous landlord, and long story short, I was paying him my rent check one day, and he was like, "Yeah, this guy hasn't. I made a deal with him. He hasn't given me the down payment. Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, dude, I was so eager at that time. I've been wanting to buy real estate since I was 16, and I had been looking at houses at 16. I gave up. I was really too new. I didn't understand the vibe of real estate, and
Sure.
but I wish I bought. And I was so eager, dude. I bought it. He owner financed it. That's where my current, storage lot is now. It's raw land, and now I got tenants on that property as well.
Nice. Okay. And like, what kind of real estate is your favorite? Like, well, I guess it's probably hard to answer, but like, single family, multifamily, raw land, like, well, what's your favorite? What provides the most cash, and where do you want to go to next in the real estate?
So I want to lean into multifamily, but at the same time, I want to get into Section 8. I don't technically have any Section 8 tenants. I kind
What
of
does
have
that mean?
one. Section 8?
Yeah.
So Section 8 is like government assisted housing. So the government
Mm.
pays you your rent.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty locked in cash flow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not in any area that I live or am near, right? So that's one
Mm.
risk or whatever you want to call it. So, Section 8 supposedly has the highest cash on cash return. Multifamily, you can scale very fast. So there's all sorts of pluses and minuses. I don't know right now. I really got to get clear on my next real estate purchase. The advantage to buying a multifamily building that's $1 million or $2, like you can cost segregate that, which is, pulling up the depreciation.
Hmm.
So if I'm buying a building for $1 million, I can usually cost seg around 30% of it. And then depending on the tax law and the year, like this year, you could take 80% of the cost seg. So like it's basically a discount on your taxes to get to basically like make it easy.
For sure.
Um, and that's the other advantage, dude. It's like, all right, I'll buy $1 million or $2 building, do one transaction, flip certain units, raise rents, and I'll get my cost seg in. Like it'll be very simple. So I gotta. Maybe I do both. Maybe I buy one of these buildings I'm looking at, and then buy a couple Section 8 and see what does best for me. That's what I've been
Sure.
doing. Is I've been buying like I buy cheap shit, and then I also buy expensive stuff. Like Chase Gallagher buys expensive stuff. My real estate LLC buys cheap shit,
Okay. Okay. Sure. And what
and we make it
percent? Or
nice
go
shit.
ahead.
We make it
Oh,
nice shit,
I
Harley.
see that. I see that on the social media, man. And like, what percentage down payments do you recommend? Like, there's probably some kind of sweet spot of like getting the most tax benefit out of, going into debt, or, taking a loss that year, or depreciating it in a different way. Like, yeah, like what percentage? I guess it maybe depends on the building, but
Yeah, it depends on the building, depends on who's buying it, right? An LLC, you're not going to get in with 5% down unless you're doing a commercial transaction and the current owner is willing to hold the note. Like it gets into all this crazy stuff. But if you're just looking to start out, you're Harley, and let's say Harley has a job and makes 100 grand a year. He can probably go get approved for a $350,000 house or more. I don't really know. Depends on the taxes in your area, but you can get in to a single family house for 5% down. So, you should look into that. Um, and obviously make sure the rents are going to pay for your mortgage or more, right? Like make sure it's going to pay for more.
for sure.
Um, what was your question?
Yeah, like what's the average down payment percentage that you pay on your different properties?
So it ranges, dude. I've paid as little as 5% on two properties. I've paid 20% on or more on a couple properties, and then I bought properties in all cash. I've owner finance, but that was still like 30% down. So it really just ranges.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. And you say you buy some properties in under an LLC and some under just your own personal self.
Yes, sir.
Why?
The financing is different per an individual or an LLC.
So in different scenarios, you've kind of crunched the numbers to see what makes more sense. And okay, yeah, I would have never guessed. And you just have one real estate LLC that kind of holds all of those properties.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have you done a 1031 exchange, or do you plan to flip
I
one
have
up?
not. Everything I've bought, I've held on to and run it out.
Okay, nice. And have you ever had what's the biggest headache you've had with real estate? Just
Probably this property I'm dealing with. Actually, I dealt with today. I put an eviction notice on her door.
oh no.
Yeah. So it just, dude, that property, you're gonna have headaches, brother. And I'm 22, just like you are. I'd rather experience and learn them now, and figure out my most strategic path to success via whatever vehicle it is: real estate, landscaping, coaching. Right? Like, I want to learn my lessons now. But long story short, dude, the HVAC was piece of shit. Can I curse on this?
Sure.
Basically, I hired a piece of shit installer, so I paid $8,500 for that. That failed. I had 5 different guys out there trying to fix it. Kept leaking, put holes.
Oh man.
Water came down, literally from the attic onto the first floor, and so that's happened twice. And then that tenant, gives us issues a lot, and that now the tenant has an eviction notice on their door. So it's like you're gonna deal with stuff. Honestly, Harley, at this point in my life, problems really don't affect me that much, because I'm just blessed to be alive.
Well said. Yeah, I could totally see that. A few more questions, then I'm down to dive into that thing that you kind of just mentioned. But do you have a maintenance company, or do you hire your landscape crew to deal with maintenance issues, or do you just what do you do with all that?
So it's a balance, and it's kind of tough sometimes. My landscaping crew necessarily isn't 100% trained on flipping houses.
Yeah.
They know how to clear houses out, clean stuff, paint, right? And do basic stuff. But then I have my plumbers, my guys that switch the lights out, the electric guy, all the window guys. It still costs me a lot of money to flip these houses, right?
Yeah.
So my guys will do they did the roof on the one house. We'll do obviously any exterior work like this one I'm about to buy.
Sure.
It just needs a full it just needs a junk crew, which my guys can do that. I'll park a bin out front, and my guys will empty out the house for a day. They'll redo all the landscaping outside, and then I'll try to sell it right after we clean it up. If it doesn't sell, I'll do the whole rehab, and I'll probably just burn myself out. So here's a strategy for you. My LLC is buying the house in all cash for obviously under market value. My crew's going to go in there, clear the house out, and clear the whole landscape, make it look beautiful, or as I say now, bonito, because my crew speaks Spanish, and now that's my new word. And I'm gonna relist it and try to attract real deal flippers. I'm like a newbie flipper.
For sure.
So
but still.
Exactly. If someone wants to pick it up after my guy's been in it for a couple days and clean it up, by all means take it. If they don't, then I'm gonna finish off the 2 bathrooms. I'm gonna clean the whole house up and most likely rent it out. And then what I'll do is Chase Gallagher will buy that house from my LLC and pull all the equity out of it, and then I'll and that's how you do it.
So then you'll have a higher valued house that your LLC put all the work into, and now you have an asset that's worth more, and now it's on your asset to debt ratio. It's just over there, so you can now leverage it against other buys maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one strategy, and that's a costly strategy. Either way you do it in real estate, dude, it kind of sucks. It costs lots of money. So like if I were to do private money on this deal, it would probably cost me 6 to 8 grand just on the cost of borrowing the money. So I said, all right, I'm going to use my own cash for this deal. Putting up my cash, I'm going to buy it. Then I'm going to put up my cash to do all the rehab if it doesn't sell. So there's that. So then if Chase Gallagher buys that property, you then have to pay another transfer tax. You have to pay the 1%. Like it keeps going. And so, but I'd get my couple $100,000 all back. So it's worth it.
For sure. Okay. Yeah. And then you don't have the interest to worry about. Okay.
Well, you would have interest. Now I'm paying 8% on, if it's $450,000, I'm still paying interest on that. Now you have to find a tenant that will cover your mortgage.
Okay. Yeah, I could see how it's a very difficult, complicated, but also you almost just have to start somewhere and learn almost. Sure, you can have mentors, but like you probably didn't really know what you were doing and you started and then you're like, okay, now I'm getting more of a strategy. I plan to get into it in the next few years. I don't know when or how. I should have more of a plan, but I don't know. We'll see. But it's very inspiring to see that you're doing this 8 properties or 10. How many do you have now?
It's like 8 or 9 properties. And I think this one that I'm closing on will be my 10th.